chasing your passion and working on what you love. Being self-employed has its perks and its challenges, no doubt. To those of us who have adopted this status, we know this very well. But to those on the outside, it's a bit of a misunderstood status. Sometimes glamorized, sometimes belittled. In this video, we would like to address some of the myths about being self-employed in Belgium and shed some light on this surprising way of life. First myth. Being self-employed is expensive. So, of course, it's true that being self-employed has its costs. For example, it will cost you about 160 euros to sign up and become self-employed, get your VAT number and get started. If you are full-time self-employed, you have to be prepared to pay the minimum amount of social contributions every single quarter, which in 2022 is around 780 euros. Just like any active professional, you will also be paying taxes on everything you earn. So it is true that being self-employed is a status that will cost you some money every year. The self-employed can buy anything they want and just charge it to their company. Well, it is true that the self-employed can deduct expenses when it makes sense for their business. Things like a computer, work tools, restaurant bills, an electric bicycle. Self-employed can only deduct costs when it's directly related to their activity. But keep in mind that not everything is deductible 100%. And even if those expenses lower your taxable income, it's still money that's coming out of your business. So yes, it's great to leverage the deductible expenses, but a cautious self-employed will probably handle that responsibility with caution. Being self-employed is lonely. It is true that being self-employed may start off as a lonely adventure, but depending on your field, you'll quickly find yourself surrounded with like-minded people. We see many self-employed usually join co-working spaces or work at client locations, and the self-employed are actually more likely to meet new people because their work environment changes so often. Also, the increased flexibility with their time also means that the self-employed can leave space for hobbies, activities, sports classes, time with friends, vacations. So we would argue that the lonely self-employed is pretty much a myth. The self-employed make more money. Well, that all depends on how much they invoice. The self-employed usually sell a product or a service that is in high demand. And if they are good, and if they're efficiently managing their business, they can usually charge more than an employee with the same skill set. But remember, the self-employed don't get any paid time off, they don't get any 13th month of salary, and they are taxed, just like any other professional. With taxes and expenses, it's a rule of thumb to say that an independent pays themselves half of what they invoice. So reaching a point where you can earn good money as a self-employed takes a lot of time and effort. So if they've reached that point, they probably deserve it. The self-employed don't work. To the naked eye, it may seem that some self-employed enjoy more free time than an employee. They get to choose when they wake up, when they start, and when they stop working. Although it is true that independents can choose how they spend their time, it is a big responsibility. The self-employed are not only in charge of delivering their service or products on time, they must also prospect for new clients, run their day-to-day business, manage their own accounting and administration. The success or the failure of their business lies within their hands. So discipline and hard work will be inevitable for growing their business. So I would say that the lazy self-employed is a total myth. On the other side of the spectrum, we have self-employed work too much. Independents have the responsibility of setting their own deadlines, surveying the quality of their own work, measuring their own performance. Working alone can sometimes lead to situations where they are overworked. It is true. One of self-employed's biggest responsibilities is to make sure that they, as the engine of their business, manage to keep a good, healthy work-life balance, set realistic goals, and not put too much pressure on themselves. On the other hand, the stress of not having enough work or losing clients can also drain a lot of energy. So in the early years of a self-employed's career, it's true that they may sometimes reach their limits. People become self-employed because they are unemployable. It is true that some self-employed are just unemployable, and this is why. They view the conventional model of labor to be unrealistic, outdated, and undesirable. They choose to be paid for their creativity, their ideas, their product, rather than their time. They choose to become self-employed as a way to stay sane and achieve a balance between the work they love and the life they love. They would rather struggle and fight their way towards their own dream than work on somebody else's. So it's true that some self-employed are unemployable. Being self-employed is a great adventure, filled with challenges and rewards. If you are becoming self-employed, or if you're thinking about taking the leap, we would love to be part of your journey. Good luck and see you in the next video.